Hello everyone, this is Fantasy-esque and welcome back to the Fairy Amazon Challenge in The Sims 4. We are following the reign of Queen Justin Crocusfade, who has recently emerged as the victor of the sword fighting tournament. But things have taken a dark turn. Despite the court's attempt to help her cope with the role of being queen, Justin's indecisive nature has just spelled the end of her line. Exhausted, she made the wrong decision to visit the mystical waters and drowned when she ran out of strength to keep herself afloat. Things turned even more terrifying when the fairies remembered that there had recently been 2 fires in the royal kitchen, and that Queen Justin's portrait had been completely burned. Some had wondered at whether it was a bad omen at the time, and now there was no denying that Justin's death was more than mere accident. Had the nature spirits allowed her to die because she hadn't lived up to their expectations? The ladies gathered in the royal crypt to say goodbye to their monarch and honor her memory. They restored her burned portrait and placed it over her grave. She looked more fierce in it than she ever did in life. And then the fairies had to accept that a dynasty had fallen. But despite the failure of their first queen, the fairies knew they had a responsibility towards the Fae Forest. As the oldest noble bloodline, Lady Supriya Daisy was crowned the new queen, establishing a new dynasty of the Fae. And what a heavy burden it was, particularly when she was pregnant with her first child. The fairies already suspected that Prince Uther's birth had upset the balance somehow and proven Queen Justin unworthy of her position. Now, Queen Supriya hoped that the child she carried was indeed a girl. When she'd conceived, she had no idea that her bloodline would rise to royalty, but she also knew such heights meant that a fall would be equally terrible. But to do better than the previous dynasty, Supriya needed strong supporters at her side, and Justin's counselors had failed with her. The new queen appointed Lady Bren and Lady Kayla as her counselors, inviting them to sit by her side and usher in a new dawn. Bren was a visionary, and Kayla was passionate about the young generation, a perfect combination. Queen Supriya was changing things, not only inviting Lady Kayla to join the main court, but also appointing a new caretaker for the female faculty. She also announced that Uther Crocusfade would still be recognized as a prince, but of the previous dynasty. She had no desire to erase his status, and was even beginning to plan for her own bloodline's future. Wouldn't it strengthen her place on the throne if her daughter was to wed Prince Uther? And now that a new queen is on the throne, let's catch up with some other things in the queendom, namely the introduction of our new caretaker and a certain prince who has aged up into an infant. Lady Brittany Perchport is our 6th noble lady. She aspires to be a jokester and has the traits non-committal, outgoing, and goofball. Brittany was an actress in a theater troupe, which traveled through various lands, and for a long time, she enjoyed what she was doing. She had a talent for it after all. But whether it was for the idiotic humans or the unnerving vampires, she lost her excitement for the stage. And then came the news of Queen Justin's death. It was such a dramatic and unfathomable turn of events that she had to see for herself, and somehow got roped into being the female faculty's new caretaker. She likes pessimistic Sims, which isn't a surprise as a former actress. Passion is in the pain after all, and art is often in the dreary things in life, which she isn't sure the children will understand. In terms of genetics, she has steel blue wings, warm 9 skin, blonde 15 hair, and black eyes. And now we're taking a moment to have a look at Queen Justin's only child, Prince Uther Crocusfade. He is a sensitive infant, which I find really intriguing at a time like this because his mother has just died and the throne has passed to a new bloodline. He doesn't even know the gravity of what's happening to his family or how strategically important he'll become as a match in the Fae court. In terms of genetics, he has warm 12 skin, red 9 hair, and black eyes. So basically, he's inherited his mother's skin and eyes and his father's hair, which is a very striking combination. I also want to point out while we're here that I will be skipping the toddler life stage just like I do with my vampires, because I do not want them to have more baby stages before they become teens. Call me impatient, but that's where the fun is. We are picking up at 11 p.m. on Tuesday. The fairies have had a very traumatic and exhausting day because things spiraled out of control when I completely forgot that drowning was a thing in The Sims. And I was just so focused on making sure that my fairies weren't starving. I got all of them to go to the mystical waters. I wasn't even paying attention to the fact that Queen Justin was very exhausted. One by one, I was getting them to go and bask in the emotions because her emotional force was so low, I was worried she was gonna starve. And next thing you know, she was drowning. So, unexpected, unprecedented. However, I think this is a great time for us to start getting to know what happens when a royal bloodline dies out, or when a dynasty falls and a new one rises. I think Queen Supriya Reed Daisy is a wonderful and exciting example of that, and her circumstances to me is just so fascinating because she is pregnant right now. Like, this whole thing happened. She rose to power as queen, established her own dynasty when she was pregnant with her first child. And if she has a baby girl, that would set a very different tone to her reign from what Queen Justin had going on. We have never had a bloodline across any of my Amazon series that has died out, like a royal bloodline that has died out. I was actually preparing to maybe see the rise of a new dynasty with our vampire Amazon Generation 2, because the Generation 2 queen doesn't want to have any kids since she hates children. But lo and behold, the fairies beat me to it. They beat the vampires to it, I should say. So let's go ahead and see what's going on for Wims and how everyone is feeling about Supriya's rise to power. I mean, already she's moved into the Queen's quarters. A lot of the portraits have been changed to kind of feature her, and you will notice that Supriya is quite, I think, sad looking or maybe tense in her portraits, and I think that is because there is a weight on her shoulders now. I mean, yes, suddenly she's gone from being a little bit invisible to the new queen. However, she realizes that Justin failed. And a lot of the fairies believe that Justin failed because she did not live up to the expectations of the nature spirits. And so Supriya is thinking, what is going to happen to her if she does the same? If she has a son as well? So there is a lot of pressure on her. But that is a portrait of her in her private quarters. We have another portrait of her over here in the inner commons, and I honestly love her blue eyes and the new circlet that she has with the black stones. I love the black hair and the dusky skin. Oh, she's just so pretty to me. I find her so pretty, and I'm very excited to have her as our queen. And then there is one final portrait up here, which is more of a formal portrait of hers. But yeah, you can see part of it is obviously grieving for Queen Justin's death. I mean, this rise to power has happened very suddenly, but also it's the strain and pressure of knowing what fate might befall her should she fail as well. So okay, I'm gonna get Supriya up. Let's see what's going on. She wants to chat with someone. Let's see who she wants to chat with. So, she does not get along well with Brent. She has a bad compatibility with her, and a good one with Katarina. She's got a -12 with Brent, a 12 with Kayla, a 22 with Bren, and a 9 with Katarina. So she wants to go and chat with Bren, who is here. You know what? What about we ask to be pushed on the swing? I mean, that should count as friendly, right? I would hope so. I don't know if she can. She's pregnant, like very heavily pregnant. But let's go on the swing. I think Supriya needs to have a quiet and relaxing conversation with Bren. I also find it very interesting how Supriya completely dismissed the two counselors who were serving Justin, and she chose to have Bren and Kayla serve as her counselors instead. We also know that Kayla was having a lot of problems with Bren. Are you going? I think so. Kayla was having a lot of problems, sorry, not with Bren, with Brent. With Brent. We have been seeing over the past couple of episodes Kayla constantly worrying about the children, and as a result having disagreements with Queen Justin and Lady Brent. Well, that resulted in something, didn't it? It resulted in Justin's death. So maybe she did have something valuable to say, which maybe the ladies should have listened to. Okay, I don't think she can swing on this because she's pregnant. That's okay. We'll just get her to maybe complain about problems. I do want her to talk to Bren a little bit, since she did want to chat. Let's go talk to Bren. I find it so cute the way they hold their bellies when they're flying around because they're being, careful. I love that. But I can understand as a precaution why Supriya might feel that Kayla and Bren are better as her counselors, because Bren, she has a, I think, very soothing presence, but she's also, a visionary. She sees the world in a way the others don't, and she sees, I think, a little bit into the future. Not that she's a seer, but she's able to imagine what it would look like to have a properly functioning court, and that's something Supriya needs. Also, with Kayla, she knows that Kayla was trying to bring up things about fairy health, their bloodlines, the future generations. She was trying to bring attention to something which the fairies weren't entirely understanding, and now she's thinking that maybe there was value in that, so she wants to keep Kayla and her ideas close. So there we go. That's what we have for Supriya. But I kind of feel like Supriya making all these strategic moves from the very beginning of her reign is showing that, unlike Queen Justin, she might actually have what it takes to become a successful queen. She's not really second-guessing herself. She's making very quick decisions. For someone who was a little bit unsure how to step up, I think she's doing really, really well, given the opportunity that she has right now. Okay, Bren wants to flirt with someone. So who does she... We haven't seen any romance yet. Who does she have the closest relationship with? She has a 0 with Brent, so no relationship with Brent. She has a 13 with Kayla, a 17 with Katarina, and a 23 with Supriya. So, okay, maybe Bren's help with the queen is going to eventually lead to something more. So she's actually going to come here and she is going to flirt with Queen Supriya. Yeah. We have not seen any romance whatsoever between any of the fairies. We've had the breedings, but I don't think the breedings count as potential romance, because that's a requirement for them. And this is the first time I am seeing the fairies make any sort of romantic effort. But I could see Bren, the more time she spends with Supriya, to me it feels like both of them are more quiet personalities, but they might develop a bit of an understanding with each other, which might lead to something else. Oh no, never mind. Okay, well, Bren might be reading a little bit too much into the support that she's giving Supriya, or maybe how much Queen Supriya, oh my goodness, I forgot to change her name. I need to change Supriya's name to Queen Supriya, like her title. But I think Bren might be reading too much into how much Queen Supriya needs her. And I guess Supriya, she was like, no, that's not how I think about you. Don't overstep your boundaries. Okay, intriguing. Oh no! No. Katerina was the only sick one, and she hasn't even been near the queen. And now the queen's sick as well. Oh my goodness. Okay, the queen has another ailment. You need to be like studying apothecary cures, Katerina. The queen has another darned ailment. That means her risk of dying from childbirth just increased to 3%. And she is gonna give her child a genetic sickness of 2%. Guys, it's like every baby that is born is sicker than the last. But this is something that is gonna plague the fairies. Okay, you go and deal with your apothecary cures, please. I don't think we've had Supriya at the clinic for a while, but you and Katerina both need to be working on these cures. Thank you very much. Okay, I was like almost getting hiccups or something. Right, Brant. Let's see what's going on with Brant. Brant wants to go for a jog. You know what, guys? I'm actually excited for this. Wait, do we have options for a jog? Can we go on a jog? Does going flying count? I don't know if that would count. Going flying. Because, I don't know if we can jog. We might be able to jog if we disable the wings. But who wants to do that? I think this is the equivalent to a jog. That's okay. We'll say it is. Brant, you can see she's feeling... Okay, oh no, I did that. But yeah, Brant, she is feeling very down. I feel so sad seeing her like this. Look at her, guys. She looks so helpless and hopeless. I can see how she would be very saddened by the queen's death. I mean, she was one of the counselors, not only losing Justin. Katerina and Brant were very close to the queen. They were good friends with Justin. So to lose her like that over something which seems so simple and so ordinary, I think is almost like a disservice to her memory. That she died in such a pathetic way. But being dismissed as counselors under the new queen would make them feel, I think, more incompetent. Especially for Brant. Which is quite unfortunate. That's probably why she wanted just to fly a little bit, some alone time to process everything that's been happening. Okay, Kayla. What's going on with Kayla? I'm actually really excited to have her with us. She's been very angry at the past couple of, episodes we've seen for some of the ladies. So I want to know what's going on in her head. She wants to cook a meal. Okay. Let's go and do that. We'll get it to cook a meal, although I'm a little bit scared of the meals right now. We actually... me, as I was setting up, guys, Izzy was cooking food in the kitchen. This was before we started this episode, as I was setting up. Izzy was cooking, and twice he set the kitchen on fire, and the first time around, the portrait that we had of Queen Justin, it was completely burnt to a crisp, and I kept it like that because I was going to make it a plot point about whether or not it might be some sort of omen. But before I could get to that, Queen Justin drowned. So it was all a little bit eerie how things went down. I'm a little bit nervous whenever anyone comes near here. But let's see what we can make. Is there anything nice we might be able to make? Do we have any... Oh! Wait, hold on. Hold on. Lady Kayla, acting maliciously towards Lady Brant, really left a sour taste in her mouth. It has Lady Brant wishing Sims could just be nice to each other instead of whatever that was. Ooh. Brant dislikes malicious interactions. Oh my goodness. Do you guys reckon we might also be going towards a reckoning? we didn't get to see any judgments in Vampire Amazon, but look at the fairies. We thought they were all calm and nice, but the fairies, they've already given us a new dynasty. We might just have our first reckoning. I don't know, but it kind of feels like the court is a little bit divided right now. Okay, well, Kayla, I was gonna get you to come here and cook some food. Let's just bake some dinner rolls. Make some dinner rolls. I mean, the fairies typically don't eat. They don't need to eat. But I think that Kayla, anytime one of the Sims want to cook from now on, I'm gonna interpret that, because the cults we play don't really need to eat, but I'm gonna interpret that as them wanting to provide. When they want to cook, they want to provide, especially for the younger generation. So, okay. She's gonna make some dinner rolls. She has heard that Prince Uther has become an infant, and obviously he's not old enough to eat any of this just yet, but I think that she's maybe trying out recipes, thinking about the future, and this might be in hopes that the new queen has a baby girl, almost like a dish for good luck. You know, she's preparing dinner rolls as though she's preparing it for the crown princess. So Kayla's definitely doing her part. She feels like a bit of an unstable character, I'm not gonna lie. She feels like a little bit of an unstable character from what I've seen so far. I mean, yes, she is passionate, and yes, she does feel quite strongly about caring for the ladies and caring in particular for the queens, right? She takes her job very seriously. And I think now that she's a noble lady and a counselor, she's going to take it even more seriously. But I kind of feel like she holds a bit of a grudge against people who don't live up to her expectations of what should be done. So she can be a little bit tough on others, and sometimes she snaps, I feel, without explaining why she's snapping. Maybe she feels as though others won't understand her, so she doesn't bother explaining why she's reacting so strongly to certain things. So I'm very intrigued. And finally, Lady Katerina, who is still sick and has spread her sickness to the queen. Katerina, that is not very helpful. But she wants to analyze a book. Okay, I think, guys, Katerina, she wants to figure out. Let's grab something, and why don't we come here? Why don't you leave the archery, go to the gallery, sit down, analyze a book. I think she's gonna want to research other queendoms, other kingdoms, to see if anything like this has happened in the past. Katerina was also a counselor that was dismissed, like Brent, but I think she would process this dismissal very differently to Brent. Brent is out there flying around feeling miserable. Katerina is more fiery. I think rather than moping around and like being defeated, Katerina would want to find out whether something like this has happened before and what they can do about it, or is there a way to maybe protect themselves against the wrath of the nature spirits. I mean, yes, the nature spirits guide them, but that doesn't mean that the nature spirits as a whole might always think of a fairy's good. We did say in the very beginning that nature spirits, sometimes even a spirit that's looking after, your own bloodline, your own family, if they feel that you have become a weed in the garden of the universe, they will take you out. They will pull you out. And it was most likely Justin's own bloodline deity that kind of let her die. So yeah, Katarina is wanting to figure out more of this whole thing. Like, is it even a superstition? Was it just Queen Justin being foolish? Is it something they need to fear in the future? She's thinking about all these things. Now, I did not expect myself to talk for so long with these ladies, long enough for the new queen to be ready to have her baby. I was gonna do that in the next episode. But since she's about to be ready to have her baby, I'm gonna jump back in a second and we're actually gonna continue this. Okay, it is 1 p.m. and Queen Supriya, whose name I have changed, or whose title I've changed so that it is now appropriate, is ready to have her first ever child. And I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but I feel like Katarina has been quite hot-headed, like extra hot-headed, and she's kind of been turning away from Supriya and walking off a lot. I noticed it during Supriya's coronation when all the ladies were kind of lined up in front of the throne and they were all facing her except Katarina. I mean, she was, but towards the end she kind of turned around and I feel like she was stomping around a little bit. So she wasn't entirely happy with the situation. And then I got all of the ladies to come into the birth chamber because Queen Supriya is ready to have the baby, which might very well be the crown princess. We don't know yet, but that's what everyone is hoping for, right? Everyone is showing patience, and then Katarina kind of zoomed off. I mean, she's sick, she zoomed off to throw up, but still, the timing of it. I feel like all of these things that keep happening, these interruptions in a way, it's kind of giving me a bit of an indication that Katarina might not entirely be happy with Supriya's rise to power. Maybe Katarina feels as though because she was one of the counselors that she was more deserving of becoming queen than Supriya. And she and Supriya used to get along quite well. I don't know what their friendship is right now. They have a two friendship, but she and Supriya, from what I could see when Justin was around, got along quite well. And maybe Katarina feels as though she brought Supriya under her wing, only for Supriya to kind of overtake her, which she hasn't wrapped her head around just yet. So there's that. And also, quite clearly, guys, I am noticing a bit of a divide from the old council versus the new council. So Supriya and her council members, they seem to be on one side of the court, and then I feel like Katarina and Brant are on the other side of the court. But okay, I am very, very curious to see what Supriya is going to have. I don't know if Katarina is even going to make it back inside in time. And oh, we have Izzy, who is attending the birth. He even gave the new queen a gift. But where is your your breeder, Dirk? Okay, I see Dirk. Dirk. This might be a daughter. This might be a crown princess. We don't know, but you should really be in here. Okay, he made a late entrance too. Is he even making an entrance? Yes, he's making a very late entrance. And isn't it funny how the tables turn? Like in the last birth, Kayla kind of barged in here. And I know some of us were thinking, like, we don't know how we feel about Kayla barging in here, even if she is concerned about our sick fairies and illnesses in general. But lo and behold, this time around, she came on this side of the partition legitimately as a counselor. So things can become twisty quite easily, can't they? Okay, Supriya. Come on, Queenie. What is it? It is a crown princess, guys. Okay, this is going to be Princess Lynette. Princess Lynette Reed Daisy. Guys. Maybe Supriya was the one who was meant to be queen all along. Because Queen Justin couldn't do it, but Queen Supriya just gave birth to Crown Princess Lynette. Okay, and just the one baby, but she succeeded in giving us a crown princess. So welcome, little baby Lynette. Oh my goodness, I'm so proud of her. I am so proud of her. But now we need to see whether or not she actually survives childbirth. I need to do the roll. Just a reminder that Queen Supriya had a 3% chance of dying from childbirth, and she rolled a 74. So not only is she safe, she had a very comfortable birth. I definitely think the fairies would take all of this as a sign that she is blessed by the nature spirits. And with that said and done, I'm going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye.